What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today, look at this article from Variety. You know, a lot of the things that they're talking about are the things that I and many other Fandom Menace members have been saying for the last 2 years. And of course, we were called racist, sexist, and saying we were intimidated by women when we were just calling out the obvious going on. Watch how this article starts. Now, Variety is a very respected source, and they're very plugged into Hollywood and everything like that. It's just interesting that the talking points that they start this article off with are the same things we've been talking about for 2 years. Yet now suddenly it's acceptable. Beautiful. But we're going to go all the way into this bad boy. Star Wars, inside Game of Thrones creators exit, and the pressures facing Lucasfilm. It's become almost comical. Something we've all been saying for a while now. On Monday, Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss became the latest high-profile talents to part ways with the Star Wars universe before their movies hit theaters. They're part of a revolving door of A-list directors who have found it impossible to realize their vision in a corporate culture that is said to invite little creative independence and argument. They joined the ranks of Josh Trank, Colin Trevorrow, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller in being dismissed from the Star Wars productions they were intended to helm. In films of the size and scale of Star Wars, it's not unheard of for productions to run into heated creative disagreements, but the high rate of turnover is raising eyebrows across Hollywood among the rabid fan base of fans. It's also inspiring questions about the management style of Kathleen Kennedy, the executive tasked with guiding Lucasfilm with finding fresh ways to expand a galaxy far, far away. Seems like we've been talking about that for almost 2 years. Thanks for catching up to the party, Variety, but I'm happy you're here. If you like, it's like if you take a job as a Star Wars director or a creator, you're automatically thrown into the Sarlacc pit, and your chances of getting out and making that film are so unlikely you have to almost become a Jedi Master, says Jeff Brock, a box office analyst for Exhibitor Relations. Exhibitor Relations is a great site, by the way. I follow them. Even directors who retain credit for their work experienced issues. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, Helmer Gareth Edwards was essentially replaced by screenwriter Tony Gilroy during the extensive reshoots, although he was ultimately the one credited for directing the finished product. Do you know why? Do you know why? In my opinion, Gareth Edwards basically didn't fight, and he fell in line, and he did exactly what they told him to do. He allowed his creative vision to be affected by whatever they wanted to do, and that's why he was able to keep his director credit. That's my opinion. When Kennedy and her team pitched these filmmakers on joining the Star Wars family, sources say they were promised some measure of creative control. However, multiple insiders said new ideas were commonly shot down as Kennedy and her team were only looking for people to stick to the company line. If disagreements about the direction of the film became too intense, it usually led to the person leaving the project rather than an attempt to find common ground. Wow! Wow indeed. Kathleen Kennedy leaving no room on the table for discussion. That is SJW logic to a T. Again, it seems like I've been hearing this for the last few years. Let me see if disagreements. Okay, the Lucasfilm Brain Trust would often turn to a new writer such as Lord Miller before ultimately retreating to old standbys such as Lawrence Kasdan, the Empire Strikes Back writer, who is still seen as a key sounding board on productions. Even if the lack of appetite for creative risk isn't to blame, there are questions about whether the abrupt departures of key talent points to a problem in how directors and writers are being vetted and hired. Exactly. Benioff and Weiss had ambitious plans to take the Star Wars universe in a new direction. One that would exist apart from the Skywalker family saga that comprised the franchise's centerpiece, comprised the franchise's centerpiece 9-film series. The Star Wars period the pair was interested in exploring was how the Jedi became to exist. However, Lucasfilm executives and the creators began to see their visions of the films diverge during meetings last summer. News that the pair had signed a massive $250 million production deal with Netflix was a signal to many that they were eager to explore other opportunities. It also brought pressures. When the pact was announced, Netflix said it was aware of the duo's commitments, but insiders said they were also wary of waiting as much as 4 years for them to wrap up on Star Wars. The streaming service wanted Benioff and Weiss to focus on creative exclusive movies and shows for them, particularly when they looked at the streaming landscape that is growing ever more competitive with the launch of Disney Plus and HBO Max. Yada, yada, yada. So as relations with Benioff and Weiss curdled, the studio began taking general meetings with other writers on possible Star Wars pitches. It's unclear if these were just sit-downs exploring other related productions in the franchise cinematic streaming universe. The departure of the two likely sends the studio back to the drawing board. Oh my gosh. I already see a name in here. This December begins J.J. Abrams' Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. And with the end of the 9-film series, Abrams has been one of the few directors who has been able to successfully navigate the Lucasfilm landscape. But he has a mega deal with Warner Media that will likely mean he won't be making any more Star Wars films. Rian Johnson, who oversaw the more divisive Last Jedi, was said to get along with Kennedy and has maintained that he had creative freedom. But fans balked at some of the decisions. Some of the decisions? How about all of the decisions? He had been hired to oversee a separate trilogy of Star Wars films, which remains in development, though it's unclear how far along it is on production. Just about 2 weeks ago, Rian Johnson said he can't even commit to saying it's going to happen because Lucasfilm is a complete and total disaster on every single level. Oh my goodness. However, Disney, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. However, Disney was clearly stung by the box office failure of Solo, a Han Solo origin story that led to high-profile firing of Lord Miller. In a recent interview with the New York Times, Disney CEO Bob Iger said, "I just think that we might have put a little too much in the marketplace too fast." Absolute BS, and you know it, Bob Iger. You absolutely know it. Sources at the studio insist that Kennedy's job is secure despite the churn of filmmaking talent, but insiders at the talent agencies believe that top filmmakers may become wary of working on the series, particularly if the end result will be embarrassing dismissal. That's right. Star Wars fans did receive some welcome news when it was revealed that Kevin Feige, the executive credited with guiding the Marvel Cinematic Universe, will work on standalone Star Wars films. That led to speculation that Feige might be brought in to stabilize Lucasfilm, but insiders say that there are no plans to give him a larger role in that division. That's interesting. I'm glad to get more insight on that. I still believe, maybe it's wishful thinking, but I do believe, I'm hoping that Kevin Feige does get more involved and becomes the president of Lucasfilm, but I don't know that for sure. Ultimately, analysts say that the Star Wars brand is potent enough to withstand all of the behind-the-scenes drama. With the exception of Solo, the movies haven't been just hits, they've been box office juggernauts with few equals. I'm sure there are fans of Benioff and Weiss who would have loved to see them do something with the Star Wars universe, said Eric Handler, an analyst for MKM Partners, but they are going to boycott all Star Wars movies because of it. But are they going to boycott all Star Wars movies because of it? Probably not. It's a lost opportunity, but there are other people down the road who will come to the brand and do something new and exciting. A spokesman for Disney declined to comment, as did a spokesman for Benioff and Weiss. Of course they did. Of course they did. Now again, the thing I want to focus on this article, it's become almost comical. Look at that. It's become almost comical. And then they want to talk about like all these high-profile people leaving, and then the questioning the management style of Kathleen Kennedy, which is something I've been doing for almost 2 years nonstop because she's a disaster. She's a terrible leader. She's a terrible creative person. She doesn't know how to plan things out. She doesn't care about Star Wars. She betrayed George Lucas. She's a liar. She's nothing more. All she cares about is identity politics. That's all she cares about. There is an interview. You can read it. Look it up. George Lucas betrayed by... Let's see, George Lucas betrayed by Kathleen Kennedy. I think that's the title. It's on Jar Jar Abrams' channel. She point blank says it. Like, that she's going to take care of his creative vision, and she completely abandons it. There's another interview where she admits that being a woman in power now, she can decide if the protagonist is going to be female, because that's all she thinks about. So it's a disaster. Star Wars is a complete and total disaster on every single possible level right now. It just is. And either you're paying attention or you're not. But it's bad. And I said when Benioff and Weiss, after Game of Thrones Season 8, I said this was going to be a disaster, and it absolutely is a disaster. Absolutely. I didn't think they should have ever had their hands in Star Wars after Game of Thrones Season 8. I feel like Lucasfilm should have done something right then, but it just shows the lack of understanding. And again, I'm going to repeat it. They didn't quit a movie. Not a movie. Not a movie. We're talking about a trilogy. They quit a trilogy. Like, right now, we could have 2 trilogies that don't happen under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership. Rian Johnson's trilogy and Benioff and Weiss's trilogy. What kind of leader loses this much control? What kind of person hires people that you don't even know what their creative visions are, but you're hiring them for projects? This is unbelievable. And I'm going to continue to talk about it every single day until she's gone, and until Rian Johnson is gone, until Pablo is gone. All of them. All of them that push their identity politics and troll fans. All of them. Meanwhile, yes, I'm excited for The Mandalorian. It looks great. Jon Favreau looks like he's done a great job. Really happy about that. But it doesn't change the disease at Lucasfilm. So we will continue to monitor it. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later. Hey everyone, it's Jeremy from geeksandgamers.com, and if you're a fan of Geeks and Gamers, please go to our website, visit our merchandise store. We have t-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, tank tops, and in the very near future, we're going to have many more products for you to choose from. So thank you for the support. We appreciate it. You guys have a great day, and we will talk to you later.